Hey everybody, welcome to Bad Yogi Q&A Wednesday with me, Erin Motz, where I answer the questions that you guys send me via email and social media too. Last week's Q&A prompted a whole bunch of questions along the lines of plant-based eating and why do I call myself a part-time vegan? So this week's question came from a couple different people is what I'm going to pull from. Lainey asked, I saw your post the other day about being part-time vegan and I sort of feel the same way. I want to eat healthy, but I feel like it's impossible to give up cheese and stuff like that altogether. What would you recommend to someone who wants to get closer to plant-based? And then Cassandra asked something similar. She said, can you give some pointers on transitioning to a more plant-based lifestyle? I'm a terrible cook and eating healthy for me is basically chicken or fish every day. I want to lead a more meat-free life, but it's a tough move to make. I really love this question, like a lot. Okay, so yes, I do eat meat, fish, cheese, eggs, all of these things, but in pretty small quantities and not that often. And the answer why is pretty simple. To be very honest with you, we buy all of these things when we do pasture raised and organic as we can, because to me, the way that animals are treated in factory farming is just beyond deplorable. And really, like, my personal moral compass just really kind of screams at me that this is one of the great mistakes humanity is making, among many others. Sadly, of course, I just think it's important that we make an effort to take care of the earth that we live on, and that includes all of the beings on it, the humans down to the little bunny rabbits. Anyway, that said, I leave room in my diet to accommodate for special experiences and socializing. And I know a lot of you are like me too, where maybe you want to make an effort towards minimizing your own impact on poor practices, but you don't necessarily want to give up everything all at once. So basically, when I wanted to get closer to plant-based or just being more responsible in my consumption, I made a few changes. And please note that not all of these changes are like vegan or 100% plant-based, but for me, as I started making more responsible choices, becoming closer to plant-based and vegan was just a consequence of my growth in that direction. So yeah, here's what I did, and here's a few things that you can do as well to get you closer to that end. Number one, if you're used to eating meat and cheese and stuff like that every day, cut back to only 4 days a week, or 3 days a week, or simply implement a meatless Mondays. Every little bit counts, so make sure you're not dismissing little changes because it makes a big impact. I actually read something in a book a while ago, I think it was in the book Food Matters, and it's something crazy. Like, if you cut out 1 day a week of eating meat, it's the equivalent of not driving like 760 miles a year or something like that. It's just crazy. Number two, eliminate one thing at a time. You don't have to go cold turkey. Turkey. So I started with cutting cheese and milk because I really wanted to see if that would clear up my skin. So I started with that. Now that really worked. So I ended up cutting cheese and milk all together. So I just eliminated cheese and I swapped regular dairy cow's milk for almond milk or hazelnut milk or whatever is available. Next came sugar, then came red meat, and then I just cut back on eggs and poultry and fish and all of that other stuff too. So the lesson here is just begin with something that you actively want to give up. Number three, it is expensive to overhaul your entire pantry. So if you can't afford to go completely organic, pasture-raised, blah, 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 please don't stress. We revisit the last point and I'll tell you, pick one thing to improve on. In terms of making a better choice, one of the least expensive changes I found was actually to go with organic eggs from pasture-raised chickens. So at most, this adds like $2 to your grocery bill, and again, it makes a huge difference. Like I said, I know eggs are not plant-based or vegan, clearly, but we're going in the direction of making more responsible choices, and this is a great one. Number four, here is a super simple example of what a plant-based day might look like for me. So breakfast could be like an avocado toast with lemon juice and salt and pepper. It is seriously satisfying, and I usually have some fruit with that. If I don't do that, I'll often just have a classic bowl of oatmeal with a little peanut butter, a little bit of agave or honey or whatever it is that you have on hand, and I usually put cocoa powder in it. What else? Sometimes cinnamon, some flaxseed or hemp seed, something like that. It is delicious. Lunch is pretty easy. You can always default to a big salad with chickpeas and mushrooms, pepper, tomatoes, beets, basically whatever's in season. And here in the south of France, we have an abundance of produce at all times. So finding vegetables, they're not in short supply. And I'm sure wherever you live, it is similar. So once you start thinking in that direction, you will find what you're looking for. For dinners I struggle with sometimes, so I find it's actually really helpful to make something like in a big batch. So there's tons of recipes online for like plant-based chili and stuff like that, so you can make something large and have it for a few days after that for either dinner or lunch or whatever. A side note to that, I know that a few days ago I put out something on social media where I asked you guys to share with me what your favorite plant-based meals were, and you guys sent me tons. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make them, photograph them, put them in like real recipe format for the blog, and share them with you, with proper credit, of course. I just really wanted to highlight your talent and creativity in the cooking realm, so stay tuned because I'll put out some food resources for you on this front very, very soon. So yes, these are the 4 things that I did to get me closer to plant-based. Like I said, some of these aren't exactly vegan or 100% plant-based, but when you begin to make more responsible choices, you'll want to continue going, and continuing in that direction adds to a more plant-based vegan lifestyle kind of by default. So don't be afraid to start small. Don't feel bad about picking something to begin with and owning that. You don't have to go 100% all in all at once. At least I don't think so. So there you have it, Q&A Wednesday. I hope this was helpful. Definitely let me know what your tips are for going more plant-based or consuming more responsibly in the comments below. Now, of course, to get free yoga classes, more Q&As, and a bunch of other great resources that I only put in email, make sure you're on my free list. I'm gonna drop it in the description below in this video, so you know exactly how to get all of that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you right back here next week.